All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. Welcome to today's live stream. We are going to get started here momentarily. We got us about 2 minutes here, well, a minute and a half, I guess, about right now. We got a lot to cover today. I'm excited about today's topic. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking about lots of stuff. We're going to be talking about trading options. I'm going to show you one of my options strategies. We're going to cover some of the crypto news, obviously. We're going to check in on my trade and how it's been doing, my leveraged perpetuals trade. We are going to look at some of the crypto news, of course. We're going to go through most of that pretty quickly, I believe. My favorite news story is going to be on the end, though. We're going to be talking about some of the hypocrisy that takes place inside of the cryptocurrency industry. And it's been going on a great deal lately, and we're going to look at that. And this particular article really, truly resonated with me. And so we're going to be going through that as well. So as you come in, do me a favor, smash that like button, say hello, welcome, welcome. We're going to be getting started here in about 50 seconds. I look forward to interacting with you. I look forward to talking with you. So don't ever hesitate to step up, say hi, say hello, ask questions, do whatever you need to do. And don't be afraid to step up. I will stop periodically to read questions, to read comments, that kind of thing. So I'll give you a shout out. And we're going to get started here in about 10 seconds. And I'm going to stop this before it gets to 0 because I don't like that crazy noise that it makes. All right. Thank you so much for being here, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to get started. Do me a favor, smash that like button, and let's get going. So in today's video, just a quick recap, we are going to look at Lyra options. Oh, I think I said on the video I made was it $19 I put on the thumbnail? And now we're sitting at 135. Mr. Murphy, that's one of the few IRL people that I actually know. Welcome, sir. Now we're going to be looking at a perpetuals trade that I got going on over here on Ethereum. And yeah, we will this is not, by the way, I want to say this isn't going to be some sort of full-on tutorial on using trading options or anything like that. Options trading can be a little bit complex, but I'm going to try to break down the specific strategy that I use for you to be able to follow along with that. Let's go ahead and get started looking at the market, then we'll get into the news and we'll go through this very, very quickly. And as you come online, do me a favor and smash that like button. Yes, Mtron, I just looked down and saw your comment. LFG, smash the like. Says Mind of Tron, which by the way, go check out that guy's channel. Go look at his last video and leave a comment and tell him to freaking start uploading some more. That's what he needs to do. All right, so here we go. This is one of my two favorite articles. I told you the last article is going to be my absolute best one that I read it and I was like, yes, somebody gets me. Someone understands exactly what I've been thinking about the market right now and everything that's going on. Even though it's been really positive, it's not all super positive. So Coinbase, we'll start with this article. Coinbase accuses the U.S. SEC of breaking the law and rejecting crypto rulemaking. I'm not going to read all of these articles today. This is a pretty short one, so we're going to go through this one briefly, or at least we're going to look at the highlights. The crypto exchange Coinbase has petitioned for clear rules on digital assets, and the agency rejected the petition. The crypto exchange has petitioned for clear rules on digital assets, and the agency, meaning the SEC, rejected the petition in December. Coinbase isn't taking no for an answer. U.S. crypto exchange Coinbase has filed an action against the Securities and Exchange Commission, accusing the agency of behaving arbitrarily and capriciously in its refusal to tailor rules to clarify oversight of the industry. By the way, if you want to let me know what capriciously means, you can put that in the chat as well. This case is a response to the SEC's denial of the company's formal petition for rulemaking, again putting the important question for the future of crypto regulation before the courts. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, this is something right here that absolutely infuriates me, and I don't think most people are aware of this. Most people who are not in this industry every day does not understand that this is happening. And we often talk about the court of public opinion and how the media tends to sway that court. If you ask the SEC, they say, oh, they just have to apply for approval. These crypto exchanges just need to apply for approval, but they never give any clear guidelines on how to apply for approval. They say things like, oh, they just don't need to sell a security, but they refuse to create rules on what they are defining as a security. Every single one of these major crypto exchanges have multiple lawyers on staff, and many of them have worked for the SEC. These lawyers have given them guidance. Coinbase went public, for God's sakes, and had to get approval of the SEC. The irony of what's going on, this weird dog and pony show that's taking place. Coinbase has accused the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission of ignoring the law when it rebuffs the company's formal petition for crypto rules, according to a filing Monday. Lawyers for Coinbase are arguing that the securities regulator has acted arbitrarily and capriciously when it claims authority over crypto assets, while also, this is a key part here, while also declining to write new regulations on how those assets should be treated. Instead, the agency steers its oversight of digital assets through its enforcement actions, the company argued in the opening brief of its lawsuit. This is absolute bullshit. So please understand what's happening here. The SEC refuses to write rules for companies to follow, but then files lawsuits against said companies, and which hurts executives, businesses, employees of those businesses, as well as investors that are using those exchanges as well. They file lawsuits claiming, oh, they're not following the rules, yet they're not defining what the rules are, and they have refused when Coinbase asked them to. They absolutely refused to be able to outline what those rules were. And here's the biggest problem. If you or me did anything like this, if you or me got a lawsuit like this, we would be stressed out because it would affect us. It would affect us directly. But here we're talking about a bureaucracy, the government, a government entity. Gary Gensler doesn't lose any sleep at night. If this lawsuit goes bad for him, it doesn't affect him personally. He can't personally be sued in any way. So he gets to basically jack up other people's lives, jack up other people's finances, be a political pawn for the Elizabeth Warrens of the world who are railing against crypto. And he gets to be a political pawn for traditional finance, which wants to basically keep crypto out of their market or be able to bring it into their market in such a way that they can control it. Bitcoin ETF. And he gets to be a pawn. He gets to disrupt people's lives and businesses and finances. And will always and forever be zero personal liability. I mean, think about how messed up this is. When the SEC rejected Coinbase petition, the petition to ask for clear rules in December, it didn't offer much of an explanation for why it won't write crypto-specific regulations. The exchange lawyers are also arguing. The SEC, Gary Gensler, who made a statement when his agency rejected the Coinbase petition, argued the regulator had been working on crypto rules, even if they're not the rules the industry wants, and that it's important to maintain commission discretion in setting its own rulemaking priorities. Ladies and gentlemen, that's in light of refusing to make any rules public. This tells me they're just trying to figure out how to manage this. And they know they can stall or kick the can down the road by simply filing lawsuits. Coinbase's chief legal officer posted on Twitter or X that the SEC owes the public an explanation and a chance to weigh in on how it's using its powers, saying if you go back and read the SEC's denial, you'll be hard-pressed to find an actual reason for its inaction. The company's lawsuit is aimed toward enforcing that answer. The SEC demands that the industry comply with the inapplicable, inept, and still evolving security laws requiring or else join the many companies now facing enforcement actions, including Coinbase. The company wrote in its brief, yet the SEC refuses to conduct the rulemaking needed to set the standard to show how it believes compliance with those irrelevant requirements is even possible and to provide a path to do so. So it's literally impossible to be compliant with the government. Yet when you hear Gary Gensler make statements, he's always making these public statements that make it into the press, make it into the news, and he's always like, oh, you just got to comply. You just got to comply. All these companies have to do is comply, yet he refuses to write rules. Ladies and gentlemen, the average public doesn't even know this is going on. And when they read this, it affects people's opinion. They're like, oh, that sounds scammy. Why would these companies, law-abiding companies, not do the right thing? And good law-abiding citizens of the world can't understand why a company would not want to obey the laws. It's because there's no freaking laws laid out, because there's no compliance path laid out. There's no rules set forth. There's no possible way to comply. And in crypto, it annoys me when I hear unwitting influencers say silly stuff about crypto projects like, oh, those devs need to be doxxed. No, they don't. The moment that a developer is doxxed, they can become a target if their project is successful. And I understand there's a certain amount of accountability when you have somebody who's doxxed, but it's not worth the risk to development in a technological industry that has to develop ahead of regulations because the regulators aren't willing to set out regulations. It's not worth the developers being doxxed. I'm in one project right now. I genuinely believe that project has slowed down drastically because of a smart contract bug that was exploited. The developers came forward, made themselves known, let everyone know there's a path to move forward. They started moving forward. The developers stepped back away from the scene. They'll no longer talk publicly or make any public statements. They were previously making public statements under a pseudonym or like a pen name, if you will. And they were constantly communicating what was going on. Now they've gone completely quiet. Why? Because they know this kind of crap is happening. And they don't want their lives to be ruined by some sort of needless lawsuit, like Richard Hart, for example. That was a risk he took this entire time. My goodness. While this week's latest legal challenge contends to regulators has failed to properly regulate crypto, you listen, you get the gist. I don't have to keep going. This is absolute garbage. It's absolute garbage. All right, let's go. The SEC clears, here's another nonsense by the SEC. The SEC clears dealer rule expansion that could rope in DeFi. So they're basically defining that these, which companies should be considered or licensed or approved under the SEC as a dealer. Well, they did not make an exception for decentralized finance, which is crazy because of course they wouldn't make an exception. Like, let's be honest, it's not a surprise, which by the way, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. If you're watching, smash that like button. Before we keep going, let me look at the comments. Just realized my KuCoin bot's still running. I sent in Discord. That's crazy. I'll check that out, Mindatron. YS said, love the content, bro. Sound has to be better. Also, when I watch after the live. Yeah, I'm working on it. I got a mic and stuff I need to get set up. Mindatron said, given the sudden and unaccountable changes of mood and behavior, it's terrible to feel our livelihood hinged on a capricious boss. Yep. Totally. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right. So they haven't made an exception for DeFi. So essentially they're saying that DeFi, which by its very nature is nothing more than a code. Like true decentralized finance is nothing more than a code. But they're saying that it has to be licensed as a dealer. It just adds more confusion. And I don't even know. See, here's how clueless the SEC is. When they write these laws or they approve these laws and they don't make an exception for DeFi, they could not even begin to tell you and I how they would enforce it. But of course, I'm certain they'll call something an unregistered security. It's just nuts. Let's keep going. Hong Kong central banks start regulatory sandbox for stablecoin issuers. The reason I'm pointing this out on my channel, you hear me talk about a lot about stablecoins. And I believe that stablecoins are going to be the next major regulatory framework. This article is very interesting because Hong Kong is saying, hey, if you would like to create a stable coin, we want you to bring your ideas forward, essentially, and let us know what you're looking at if you want to create a stable coin. And they listed in this article, stable coin for the US dollar or the Hong Kong dollar. So that made me think about something altogether. The reason I first covered this is just to continue to keep you updated as a viewer of this channel. Like, stablecoin regulations are important. Stablecoins are probably needed in crypto. Decentralized stablecoins are important. That's the point with this article. But as I was reading this, I thought, what in the world would the U.S. government do if another country created their version of a stablecoin? Now, of course, they're going to try to, probably call them a terrorist. They're going to try to censor them. They're going to try to use backdoor channels to pressure them. But some countries aren't going to care about that. If you create a stable coin, That could get very interesting. Competing, like the U.S. is going to have their version of a stable coin, most likely backed by the government. They're most likely going to make all other stable coins illegal or restricted in some way. That's my belief. We'll have to see what happens with that. Like, I don't know how you make a decentralized stablecoin illegal or restricted. We don't have any really good decentralized stablecoins yet. MakerDAO is collateralized by USDC, so that's definitely not US. USDC. So that's definitely a centralized backing, of course. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. There's several projects in the work. Many of you who watch this channel, you've heard me talk about liquid loans. They have a version of a decentralized stablecoin. Bean.money is creating a under-collateralized stablecoin. They're struggling right now, but it's an interesting project nonetheless. We also have the Earn protocol on Pulse Chain that has a decentralized stablecoin similar to liquid loans. We also have PDI out there. And there's a whole narrative about it could potentially get pegged on Pulse Chain, and it is uncollateralized. It is uncollateralized with a centralized currency, so it would have to be collateralized with Ethereum or Pulse or something like that. If that narrative, occurs, and I'm not actually investing in that narrative at this time, but if it does, it's very, very interesting. That's absolutely going to be neat. This is why I'm a fan of decentralized stablecoins and projects that are trying to create those. But it did make a question. It did pose a question to me that I thought was kind of interesting. Here's a neat turn of events. Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, says he will now defend your right to buy Bitcoin. Kind of, sort of. Listen, this dude's essentially a corporate politician. He's going to go whichever way the wind blows, and that's where that's at. He has been one mega critic of crypto. Before we get into that, let me just double check the comments. Wildcarder said, are you selling now on all-time highs, like 30% of your allocation on BTC to put it in liquid loans in the Earn protocol? No, I absolutely am not Wildcard. I'm not selling 30% of the all-time high. What I'm doing is I'm reallocating my passive income more to things like the Earn protocol and liquid loans, just because they're US dollar based essentially. I'm focusing more on stacking up USDC. I mean, we're in a bull market, so I'm focusing more on stacking up USDC for the eventual bear market, and I plan to continue to stack some USDC throughout the bull market and buy back in. That I'm still dollar cost averaging in Bitcoin. I still have my Bitcoin, so don't think it's two different strategies. But the passive income side, the cash flow side, I focus more on US dollar stable coins for now. Hopefully this price bumps to 80,000, 100,000, 2 million, I don't care. Hopefully it does. But right now, my passive income, I'm just holding that in USDC. When we get a pullback, I'll be dollar cost averaging back into Bitcoin on the pullback. Buy low, sell high. Don't buy high no matter what. That's my strategy. X Factor says, Pulse Chain die. Yep, correct. That's an interesting narrative out there for sure. For sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you like this content so far, do me a favor and smash that like button. So JP Dimon, this is a short article, but basically he now appears to be willing to support individuals' right to purchase Bitcoin following years of sustained criticism, probably because JP Morgan's going to create an ETF if they haven't already. That's what that really is all about. It's all about his company. In a recent interview with CNBC, Dimon highlighted ongoing issues surrounding crypto's involvement in illicit activities such as fraud and terrorism. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about fraud and terrorism in crypto. But let's keep watching. Watch this. Despite these concerns, he emphasized his willingness to defend individuals' right to purchase cryptocurrencies, although he personally seems hesitant to do so. All right. So this is the second time this year he's come out and basically made a statement, which, by the way, remember this comment here? Despite his concerns about the fraud and terrorism, and then down here, Chain Analysis, one of the largest blockchain analysis companies in the world, who are the pioneers of chain analysis software, which is a similar type of software. Those of you who've used Coinly or any of those tax softwares, they use a very similar software to be able to track transactions. That's how they do your taxes so quick. Right here, Chain Analysis early clarified less than 1% of crypto transactions are actually tied to illegal activities. see, here's the crazy thing, and I'm going to talk about hypocrisy in the crypto market, and this is from the Bitcoin side, the crypto investors and their hypocrisy. We're going to be talking about that here in a moment. But this right here, do you not think Jamie Dimon knows this? Of course he does. Of course he does. He's known this for at least a couple of years, but he repeatedly makes statements on public forums about crypto being used for terrorism. And the problem with that is twofold. First of all, the US dollar is used more for terrorism and money laundering than any other financial asset in the world, and nobody ever says that. The second issue is right here. Chain analysis says that 1% of crypto transactions. Nobody would know more than chain analysis. No one could give you a more accurate, explanation of this. But they said that less than 1% of crypto transactions are actually tied to illegal activities. So whenever you hear politicians or financial experts say Bitcoin and crypto it's primarily used for illegal activities, it's used by terrorism, just know that's propaganda. That's absolute garbage. So ridiculous. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep going. Bitcoin's records high above 72,000 signals strong crypto market rebound. Of course, the market's going up. Yep, let's keep going. Bitcoin mining daily revenue hits record as token price surges. I think this is awesome because people were like, oh, Bitcoin, toward the end of the last bull cycle, people were like, oh, Bitcoin mining's bad for the environment, and people aren't going to keep mining Bitcoin, so there's going to be a new whatever Digibyte or whatever other project is out there that's going to rival Bitcoin. Yet a rising Bitcoin price solves everything. Everybody's going to keep mining Bitcoin. Revenues are up. Why? Because Bitcoin price is up. That's how it was designed, by the way. The whole purpose in the halvening and the whole purpose in making the difficulty more difficult as more Bitcoins are mined, the whole idea behind that was to pump price to keep mining profitable. That was the primary reason, was to make certain that mining stays profitable long term. And of course, working out as expected. All right, let's keep going. Crypto gets blamed for real life currency crisis. So this is interesting, and I think I touched on this a couple of days ago, but man, this has evolved quickly, or I should have said went south quickly. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is a news story about Nigeria claiming that Binance essentially ended up undermining their national currency, because Binance gave people access to cryptocurrency, and people investing in cryptocurrency undermined their fiat currency. The reason I think this is important is I want to take a look at their reactions. Well, I read the article, I know their reactions, but the reason this is interesting is because I believe a lot of governments are going to eventually start to feel threatened by Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in general. I mean, that's what we see happening with the SEC. They're enforcing people for not following rules while refusing to outline what the rules are people are supposed to follow. It's a huge deterrent to development, and it's a huge deterrent for businesses in the crypto industry, because who wants to have to deal with that sort of nonsense with the SEC? But right here, Nigeria went as far, they fined Binance a while back. They fined them a crazy amount of money. I forget what it was, billions of dollars or $1 billion or whatever. It's an absurd number. Then they claimed that Binance wasn't properly licensed in the country. And then they ended up arresting 2 employees, 2 high-level executives, 2 individuals who are doing their job, employees of the company, who are not breaking any known law in any other country, because Binance refused to essentially comply, which probably had nothing to do with those 2 employees. It probably wasn't their call. And now the 2 employees got arrested in Nigeria. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. All right, we're going to come next into my favorite article. And when we read through this article, and I'm going to read through it, and I'm reading through it because I want the message on my channel to be somewhat of a purist. Like, I want you to understand where I'm coming from as I invest in cryptocurrency. Because a lot of times we talk about making money, we talk about, passive income, we talk about crypto cash flow, we talk about trading. At the end of the day, we are going to make money, but the reason that we're going to make money is because of the underlying technology that exists. because cryptocurrency is the future of money, because Bitcoin is the future of money, because this technology is revolutionary tech. If Bitcoin is not the future of money, and if the technology is not revolutionary tech, then this all goes to zero. What's the reason for it to exist? There's no other fundamental reason for it to exist long term, decades and decades in the future. And some people believe that. They believe it's just a bubble, it's a speculative game, they're going to play it. I believe that's what Wall Street thinks. Wall Street does not want Bitcoin to be a future of money. It undermines Wall Street. Wall Street doesn't want decentralized finance to be the future of money. It undermines Wall Street. It undermines their ability. When I say undermines Wall Street, what I mean is it undermines their ability to be able to earn fees. Now, if you understand that, then you're going to appreciate this next article coming up. Hypocrisy is everywhere with crypto and the banks. Now, after this, we'll get to some trading, some options trading in particular. In case you haven't heard or choose to ignore such things, Bitcoin is back. The original and still biggest cryptocurrency surged to a record high of more than $72,000 on Monday. Having more than tripled in value in the space of a year, other crypto tokens such as Ethereum and Dogecoin, beloved by Elon Musk, have also been rallying, with the estimated value of the market climbing to above $2.7 trillion for the first time in more than 2 years. The funny thing is, though, that there's a chance you've actually not heard. There's not so much talk about which token is next going to the moon, or so many instances of Win Lambo this time around. I'm kind of thinking this chick needs to hang out in some of the Telegram groups I'm in. She would see that. Newspapers aren't running stories about how hilariously rich everyone is getting apart from you. Worldwide search traffic for Bitcoin and crypto has climbed in recent days, but it is still only half the level it was the last time a record was hit in 2021, according to Google Trends. No, crypto in 2024 so far is a rather more subdued affair, and the reason is that the factors reckoned to be driving rising prices are far from the kind of wild crazes we've seen before, such as the mania for initial coin offerings in 2017 or for the non-fungible tokens in 2021. Instead, there are some rather more prosaic things going on. These are supply and demand dynamics in the lead up to the halving expected in April, when the number of new Bitcoins mined every 10 minutes halves to 3.125. The prospect of lower interest rates and institutional capital flows into the 11 Bitcoin-based exchange-traded funds approved by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission this year. The last factors having the most impact, more than $50 billion has poured into the Bitcoin ETFs. That's crazy, $50 billion. According to data from the crypto platform The Block, with one launched by BlackRock, the world's biggest asset manager, already the firm's third biggest exchange-traded product and the fastest ETF ever to reach $10 billion. Some of the world's biggest banks, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America, which is where Jamie Dimon's the CEO. No, he's in JP Morgan, sorry. All reportedly lining up to get involved in Bitcoin too. The painful lessons of the financial crisis about avoiding high-risk, toxic assets have been forgotten, it seems. Now, here's what's interesting. I want to go back up to the top a little bit up here. When she's writing and she's talking about, yes, but the market is a bit more subdued, the rhetoric's a bit more subdued, people are saying win Lambo and all this stuff. To me, even though right now, we are at crazy high on the extreme greed index. Crazy high. This is when you should be selling and taking profits historically. People who follow this indicator, that's what they say. But obviously people aren't taking profits because the market's going up. That's how it works, by the way. Smart guys are taking profits while everybody else is pushing the market up. With that being said, this tells me, based on what she said in this article, if you follow that narrative, we could be greedy for a while longer. This market may continue to go up for a while longer. That's what it kind of tells me, because the truth is the Bitcoin pump started a little bit early. Most of us know that. It's not quite the time that the Bitcoin pump started, several weeks or a couple months early. When we get into this halving and shortly after the halving, we're going to see a pump if we follow the normal market cycles of the past. So I believe that pump is still incoming, even if we did get a little pullback over the next coming weeks. I believe that big pump is still incoming. So I think when she talks about, oh, we're pretty subdued this time, well, it's because this sort of bull cycle started a little bit early because of the ETFs in general. And so I think that's just a sign there's more to come. Let me know in the comments if you agree with that. The buyers using these new ETFs are conventional investors who see it as a way of diversifying rather than true believers. That's important. So you might think Bitcoiners would be unimpressed by their anarchical cryptocurrency whose reason seems to circumvent such middlemen and provide a decentralized, censorship-resistant form of money being overtaken by the world of traditional finance. This is what I'm saying. This right here is why I haven't been crazy about the Bitcoin ETFs. Bitcoin has always been about sticking it to the man, surely, not making rich bankermen rich. But you would be wrong. See, this is what has been blowing me away. How many people I thought were true crypto believers that are simply falling to the wayside just because of the dollar, essentially. But you'd be wrong. The OTC desk are running out of Bitcoin. This is why we're pumping so hard. Institutional FOMO is starting now. 100K will come very soon. Posted one much followed crypto account on X. I've become pro ETF because anyone who's got some kind of exposure is now incentivized to be Team Bitcoin, says Peter McCormick. This guy right here. I first got introduced to Peter McCormick when I saw him interviewed by Richard Hart. Richard Hart demolished Peter McCormick so bad it has to be one of the most epic debates I have ever seen. If you've never seen it, you should go look for the full Richard Hart Peter McCormick debate on YouTube. He left looking like a withering child, lost all form of his emotional composure. Peter McCormick has a podcast. This guy's supposed to be a Bitcoin maximalist. He's supposed to be all in the crypto space, and he just hated Richard Hart. Couldn't tell you why he hated Richard Hart. He just lost his freaking mind on stream, and looked sad. I mean, I almost felt sorry for him, because if that video had gotten any more widely viewed, he would have probably lost his reputation altogether, period. But then he's over here saying, I've become pro ETF. This is a very public Bitcoin maximalist, because anyone who's got some kind of exposure is now incentivized to be Team Bitcoin. First of all, that's not even close to true, and thankfully the author goes on to say that. Let's just say it's good to have BlackRock CEO Larry Fink on your side. This is the great thing about Bitcoin. All of our incentives align. What garbage. Like, it makes you wonder, what three-letter organization put this guy? I mean, I'm not really saying that, but that's what people would wonder. Like, talk about suddenly switching tune and praising banks. The very institution. Listen, if BlackRock has their way about it, Bitcoin collapses. Let me rephrase it. If the federal government has their way about it, traditional banks have their way about it, and you and I cannot use Bitcoin without breaking a law, which is where, there are definitely some laws been put forward to do that. At the end of the Trump administration, one law was put forward in a bill. It didn't go through, but it was put through by, Scaramucci, who was in the Trump administration. He put through a bill that would have required all of us in DeFi to KYC every address that we received cryptocurrency from. Imagine going to MetaMask, and before you could transact with someone, you had to have their full name, their phone number. You had to have think about that craziness for a minute. What would U.S. citizens do with that? Full name, phone number, social security number. How do you KYC a smart contract that we're interacting with? That's garbage. I digress. He's right, of course. When something is backed only by belief, you want as many believers as you can get. But this does rather give the same game away about what motivates people to be on Team Bitcoin. Absolutely. This is why I like bear markets. When you see people active in bear markets, those are the real believers. Not the people showing up on your Facebook page and your Twitter feed and your Instagram feed promoting another Bitcoin Ponzi scheme just because the market's pumping. The institutional investors entering the market do not believe Bitcoin is the future of money, nor that it will revolutionize and overthrow the financial system. These companies are the financial system. They buy Bitcoin because they calculate they can eke out extra returns by doing so. Furthermore, Fink is not really Team Bitcoin at all. He has said he also sees value in an Ethereum ETF. The reality is that the embrace of crypto by the world of traditional finance, or TradeFi as crypto types like to call it, is just as hypocritical as crypto's embrace of institutional investors. Absolutely. I heard one of the hosts of another Bitcoin-focused podcast, The Wolf of All Streets, recently say that TradeFi is just as degen, a crypto word describing reckless and degenerate gambler, as the crypto community is. And this, unfortunately, is not wholly unjustified. With the advent of Bitcoin's ETFs, what was once a relatively clear boundary between crypto and conventional finance has been broken down for good, and the world of TradeFi has shown the emptiness of its talk of learning the lessons of the financial crisis. It has shown that, like the world of crypto, it is really just as greedy as ever. That's absolutely correct. And it's unfortunate that people like Peter McCormick and some of these public influence types, podcasters and YouTubers are here talking about, this is good, this is good. It's only good for price. But long term, it's probably not good for adoption. Long term, it's probably not good for price. Because if you hurt adoption, you eventually hurt price. Period. That's how that works. All right, let me just look at some comments before we get over to some trading. We'll come over here and start talking about options here in a second. Actually, we'll start looking at my this crazy trade here in a second. All right. Mtron said he's going to hold his ink divs. Big Smoke Crypto said my pulse chain sleepers are PDI, PWBTC, PETH, PSAN, PMATIC, and that's a lot. I don't know if all that's going to work out, but that's a lot, Big Smoke. But PDI could work out. If PWBTC worked out, that is a game changer. What's your thought on them saying last time we went past all-time highs, Bitcoin doubled within 18 days? Yeah. Listen, I think Bitcoin's going to move. I mean, I think it's going to go up. I don't know if it's going to go up that fast. We'll see. Here's the thing. Traditional finance is here, which means people can buy and sell now much easier in large blocks of money. The price can get moved a great deal right now. So I think that it's possible we could grind up. I think we're going to skyrocket. I don't think it's going to happen in 18 days. And I think the reason is because too many people want to take profit. People are not buying this to hold this. The ETFs, most people who are investing in the ETFs are not buying this, similar to the article I just read. They're not buying this because they believe it's the future of money. They're not buying this long term. They're buying it as some sort of asset or alternative speculative play. That's what they're buying it for. In the past, new hodlers were coming on at a pretty significant rate. Every bull market, we've had people come in and buy Bitcoin and hold it for longer and longer terms. The last bull market, I had two friends who've recently reached out to me. There was a third, but he actually more got involved in DeFi and stuff too. But two friends recently reached out to me, asking me questions about their wallet that they've been holding for years with more than 5 figures of cryptocurrency in it in the bear market. And they're like, hey, just want to make sure everything's okay, right? It's still there. Like, I know I got the wallet, I still have the private key, like beginner type stuff. And they're just hodling it forever. One has Bitcoin and Ethereum, another just has Bitcoin. And they're asking these questions of me. And the thing is this, in this market, it's being driven by people coming in that are not going to be hodlers. They are not buying Bitcoin even on a cryptocurrency exchange. On a cryptocurrency exchange, you can still withdraw your Bitcoin. This is going to be more of a trader's market than we've seen before, which means people are going to be taking a lot more profit. So I expect it to be volatile on the way up. I still think it's going up, but I think it's going to be volatile on the way up. That's my opinion on that, Mtron. Big Smoke's talking about all the pulse chain assets. Listen, Mtron, if you don't know about the pulse chain asset, it's going to be the pulse chain asset narrative. You need to go look up. All of you guys should go look up. I think it's Atropa on Telegram. It's a fascinating narrative. Like, I'm not investing in it because I've got my priority somewhere else, but I'm watching it. It's fascinating, and it's a possibility for sure. Big Smoke Crypto says inflation came in high again. I don't think rates are getting cut. Yeah, I mean, I don't listen. Inflation. Listen, if any of you've been to the grocery store, inflation's up. I don't care what they say. Like, they were like, "Oh, inflation's up. The economy's doing better." I'm thinking, wait a minute. They said. I read an article a few months back that the economy was better now than it was 3 prior to COVID. And I thought, that's garbage. There's still fast food restaurants that aren't even open after 8 o'clock in my area. That's because they can't find employees. That's not good for an economy. That's never going to be a good idea for the economy. Inflation came in high. Yeah, we're probably not gonna get a rate cut. I agree with that, Imtron, for sure. All right, this time is definitely different. Yep, I think so. I absolutely think so. Oh, you're aware of Atropa. I got it. Yep, that's a very fascinating whole process. Okay, let's go over here and look at trading options for a moment. But actually, let me start here. So BingX. Now, this trade right here, I'm not doing anything with it. I'm watching. We had a little bit of a red. Oh, sorry, I'm on Bitcoin again. I'm looking for a red candle. I've got some funds to bring in, but I'm looking for a red candle. We had a slight red candle earlier, but I'm looking for something significant. Like I even want something more than this before I bring funds in, because I don't want to. I'm already to the place where I'm doing good on this trade, so it's a really good position to be in right now. I mean, I've invested what, 1,023, and I'm sitting here at an unrealized profit of 1769 right now in this slight pullback here. So I want to see a red candle. If I see a good red candle come up on the daily, then I'm going to come back in with some more funds, somewhere between $400 to $600, maybe 1,000, but probably $400 to $600, depending on what I have available at the moment. And because I think, again, I'm bullish on Ethereum, even if we don't get the ETF. The candles turn red, now it just needs to keep dropping down. So I'm bullish on Ethereum, and I'll continue to, as we do the morning live streams, which, by the way, reminder, there will not be a live stream on Thursday, Friday, or I have went live once on the weekend, but there won't be a live stream Thursday, Friday, or Monday. We'll be resuming live streams. I'll be traveling. We'll be resuming live streams next week on Tuesday morning. Krypton. I don't even know how you say that. Cripton. He said, "Hi man, I learned the lesson of copy trading the hard way. I put fixed margin and I lost 97%, so I delete everything and start from scratch using position ratio." Oh my goodness, I know you're talking about. Yep. Might have tried ran 100x long on ETH this AM, closed 20% gain. That's awesome. And I'm trying to capture the big move, Imtron. Like I'm trying to capture it all the way up towards the ETF at least. And to be honest, if I've got enough headway, I may let it ride through the ETF, see if we continue to pump, because the Bitcoin halving's coming. Bitcoin pumped after the ETF, so if we see inflows into Ethereum, that could continue to pump as well. In short term, I mean, on the technology, I'm a little bit bearish on Ethereum, a little bit. Like, they got to do some improvements bad. Gas fees are going to be stupid this bull market. So, I mean, unless you have thousands of dollars, it's almost not even worth acting on Ethereum. So they're going to have to do something. But with the Bitcoin ETF, they're just playing the price game. And with the inflows that could be coming with that, and Ethereum oftentimes followed Bitcoin. We know we got a Bitcoin halving coming, going into most likely a bull market. I'm expecting this price to keep pumping for a bit longer. So we'll see. I don't even want to tell you where I could see this going, but I mean, some people are calling for $10,000 Ethereum. I'm currently controlling 2.2 Ethereum. If I can end up controlling 3 or 4 or 5, that could get very interesting. I don't know if I'll get that many, but we'll see. All right. Guys, Imtron said, I learned the hard way also, $1,400 to $4 a while ago. Wow. Well, I'm already at 100% gain, but I'm going to let it rip anyway. I'm over here at 166% gain, and that's with me averaging in so far. Currently at about 7x leverage. I will come in with lower leverage next time, probably 3 to 5x, so which is going to hurt how much I can control, but I want to keep my liquidation price quite low because we may end up seeing some volatility. We've seen hardly any pullback. I would like not to get shaken out of this trade because I want to stay in the longer term time frame. I want to stay in it for as long as I can, but I will listen. If I only take out $500 or $1,000 in profit, if I get shaken out, so be it. I'll just make sure it doesn't close in the negative. All right. So most of you know that I oftentimes copy trade over here. Let's see. But I want to point out something that Kryptonizart said earlier. I think I said that right. If you're going to copy trade, first of all, you got to be careful. You have to be careful. Like I'm copy trading. The benefit of it is it's incredibly passive. And some of you know this. If you've been following my journey, you can go down in the description below. You can follow my journey to earn $1,000 per month copy trading. But you got to be very, very careful. If you follow people that are too aggressive, this is going to happen like it's happened to me. But one thing that he mentioned, I want to point this out. When you follow somebody, let's go over here. Let me just find somebody random. I'm not going to actually follow anybody over here. But let's just say I was going to follow this guy right now. Or not follow, copy. If I was going to copy this guy. You got to put your amount in. I choose 0 slippage, by the way. That's just me personally. And then it's going to ask you by position or per order. Always read their description, because some people will say he has no data. But sometimes they'll say, followed by position, or they'll tell you, followed by a certain percentage of your account. Now, sometimes you got to read it carefully. Sometimes they mean make certain your copy trading funds on me are only 10% of your total account. But almost always, the best thing to do in most cases is followed by position ratio. Position ratio. That's what you tip. That means if they have 3,000 and they have 1,000 in a trade, and you have 30,000, you're going to have 10,000 in a trade. It means that the ratio is going to be the same. So just kind of keep that. Just keep that, in mind. Big Smoke said, how much are you charged for holding the trade overnight? That's a good question. I actually don't even know. He's talking about my perpetual trade. I actually don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know. I haven't paid attention to that. To be honest with you, I didn't expect this position to get this big. I was just going to add small amounts to it, but when the market took off, the profits, I'm pulling about $300 or $400 over, but then I'm going to take some of my copy trading profits and put it into that trade. So my copy trading profits right now, normally I scrape this guy down from 3,500, so there's about 475 here, assuming we don't take any major losses before I do it, and I keep him at about 6,000, so there's 189 here. So that right there is $600, and I got probably at least 400 to bring in, so I may have $1,000 depending on how these guys do before I get it in there. But I'm just waiting for a red candle. Now, when I get a red candle, these guys are going to probably be down a little bit, possibly. But when I get a red candle, at that point, I'm gonna go into that point in time. All right, let's talk about options. So I love options. Now, what I like about options is the exact opposite of what I like about BingX. I love BingX because I like copy trading. It's so passive, but I'm out of control on BingX. If one of those freaking traders change up what they're doing and suddenly start increasing their risk, and they don't talk about it on their insights, because they can't tell you. They can sometimes, some of them, if you read their insights, like this guy here, if you come over here and take a look at their insights, it's kind of like they can make little text posts and stuff. Some of them use it, some of them don't. But you can always get an idea of what's going on with the trader if they're going to use it. Sometimes they'll say, oh, we've increased our risk, or we've decreased our risk, or we've adjusted our strategy. But they could also make those adjustments without you knowing about it. That is a possibility. That's why you want to have more than one trader. You want to diversify across risk profiles, etc. But here with Lyra, I'm in full control. And the great thing about copy trading, if the market goes up significantly, it goes down significantly, you're going to make or lose money. But typically that's where you're going to make money with that volatility. With Lyra, when you're trading options, you can make money on options when the market's moving sideways. That's what's really cool about options. And so it's basically just a diversified strategy. Now, a lot of people buy options. I sell options. So typically people buy options, and I've got to just give you some fundamentals. Normally people buy options for a form of insurance. So there's put options and call options. Just remember, put options are below the current market price, like put down. Call options are above the current market price, like call up. That's one way to think about it. So if I am sitting on Bitcoin right now, 72,000, and I think, you know what? There's a risk this thing could bottom out. Then what I could do, this is not what I do, I'm just telling you a general rule for options, or general reason for options. So Bitcoin's at 72,000 right now, and and I'm got a large position, you know, and I think, oh, Bitcoin could just drop to like 65. If I think that that could happen, then what I can do is, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. If I think Bitcoin's going to go down, if I believe that Bitcoin's going to go down, then I can buy a put option. And if you buy a put option, for example, let me just show you. It's easier to look over here. If you buy a put option for like March 29th, put go down. It's kind of confusing because it goes up here, but put go down. Let's buy a put option for 65 is not up here. Okay, we'll say 66. If I'm gonna buy a put option, then it's gonna be $1,900. And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna make money on the option when it goes down, like a lot of money. And I don't have to essentially like control a full Bitcoin. That's gonna already get confusing. Hell, it's confusing in my head just trying to explain it to you. So let me just show you my strategy. We'll just go from there. I do plan to break out a full tutorial. It's just going to take a lot because I got to explain options in a way in what the option is and how it makes sense. I'm just going to show you my strategy. I will, those of you that are following my copy trading journey, at some point in the future, I will alert you when I put out a full strategy on this. If you ask a specific question, hopefully I can give you a specific answer. But let me just show you what I do. And this is, usually I can make about 1% on a trade like this. 0.5% to 1%. So I oftentimes diversify, and I will trade strike prices out about a week or two. That's typically what I do, is I trade close, because there's option prices go down because of something called theta decay as we get closer to their expiration. And I'm selling the option. I'm not the buyer. I'm selling it. And what's crazy is, let's just say Ethereum right here. And I'll actually buy an Ethereum option on, or sell an Ethereum option on camera. So the price is kind of in the middle. Typically, if the price is going up, I'll buy a call. If it goes down, I buy a put, because the idea is to get me further away from the current price. And if the price is going down, then I'm going to buy lower in the market. Oh, I'm sorry, sell lower in the market, because I always believe the price is going to revert to the mean. So if this price was down 1%, I believe it's most likely to bounce back up at some point a little bit, then just keep falling straight down, straight down, straight down. If price is down 5%, it's not going to fall 5% every day. At some point, it's going to have to turn around. So in my opinion, it can get me a little bit further down the ladder of puts, if you will, a little bit lower on the price. And that's what I want. So I'm just going to do either, I'm going to look at the tomorrow and the next day, close strike prices. I usually do this with a small amount of my portfolio. Right here, there's $700 available. I can tie up essentially as margin. And what you're doing, this is a full amount. This is a number I'm paying attention to. This is what my account value would be worth right now if my current positions all expired worthless. This is how much of the profit I've captured on the trade. So this is, those of you who've ever done traditional options, this is a little bit different. It's a little bit different, but it can give you kind of pretty consistent returns, and except in extreme volatility. That's when this strategy struggles in extreme volatility. But that's where my copy traders are making money in extreme volatility. So it's a form of diversification. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me just show you this. We'll look at the 13th. I'm going to do a put. I prefer to sell on the downside because I'm a little bit bullish. So if the market hasn't moved a whole lot, then I would just probably gravitate towards puts naturally. So we'll click put because it's easier. This is the price. This is the delta. All you need to know about delta is it's approximately the odds of Ethereum ending below this price. So this is like a 12% chance that I lose this trade. This is a 10% chance that I lose the trade, 7% chance that I lose the trade. So why don't you go all the way down here? Because you're not going to make any money. So right here, let's just say 38.75. So I could sell a 38.75 put right now with a 88%, 87% chance of winning this trade approximately. And there's no prices yet. This is what happens when the market's close. Let me go right to that. Let me do that. 14. Normally I like to do this, but if I wait later in the morning or early afternoon, this is what happens. It's just there's not a lot of pricing available. So come over here. And this is a much more decentralized way to be able to sell options, which is why I like doing it this way as opposed to like Deribit or one of those exchanges. By the way, there is an affiliate link. I don't know what I get, but there's an affiliate link down in the description for Lyra if you want to check it out. So we'll do this, 37.50, 12% chance, $9 over the next 2 days. So if I do one contract, I need to have $527 in my buying power. I have it. And I'm going to make on that trade basically, what is that? Basically 840. And I have, so that's a little over 0.5% a day that I'm going to make on that one. We'll take it. Now the difference, I'll be losing on the trade initially because of the difference in the spread. You can see my buying power went down, and here's my current spread. So if we get to March 14th and we're not below 37.50 with Ethereum, so in the next 2 days, then I'm going to be able to keep the full amount of that premium. If you were paying attention to my collateral went up because I basically got paid on that sale essentially. And so I'll wait for it to expire. Now, I don't worry, like most of the time options expire worthless except in extremely volatile markets. But what you can do, or what I do, is let's just say this is a part of options selling people don't understand. Let's just say, let's go to 37.50. That's 37.50. Now, if we see a 3 or 4% drop in Ethereum, all of a sudden we're going to see something like this right here for the delta, and the price is going to skyrocket on my trade, which means I'm going to be losing money on my trade. If the delta gets to about 30, 29, 28, 30, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out that position for a small loss, and I will, hopefully a small loss. I may lose, it may be a bigger loss. I may lose $12, even though I only made whatever I made, $8, but I end up losing 12 or 14 or 15 or 20. That can happen, especially if this market moves now. The further in the day it takes this market to move, there's time decay that's going to help me make money on my option. So here's what happens. If for any reason I see this delta get to 30, and I'll just check it throughout the day, then what I'll end up doing is I will sell further out. Watch this, same price, 37.50. Let's look at what is it? What can I make in March? 37.50. Right now it was $8.70. Right here, going out one day. That's $18 there. But what if I come out even further? 37.50. Well, they got 37 and 38. 37 is going to make me 111. Now, I probably wouldn't. This is almost a 0.3. So I would go back down to around here, 0.11, and I'm still going to make 36. So what if I lose on that trade? I would just push the option out even further, and I would make that money back, and if possible, make a little bit more opening a new trade. That's one of the reasons I like to trade like a week out, 2 weeks in some cases, because I've got time if I need to roll out further to recapture some of the profits that I can lose. The goal here is to keep watching your collateral tick up over time. That's the entire goal. And if you hit a lot of volatility, you can take losses here, no doubt about it. I was at 10,400 the beginning of last month. All the volatility we had, the market moving 5, 6, 7, 8% in some cases. That I ended up taking the losses accumulated so fast I can only roll out so far. So just close them out for a small loss, knowing that I'll just reset. The market's not going to keep having 8 and 10% days. That's just not going to happen. And I'll just continue to rebuild the position. I'll tell you that I earn with this strategy, when I'm at about $10,000, I earn between $300 to $600 a month. Most months I've had a couple $1,000 months. Probably equals out to be somewhere around $400 to $500 a month if I had to leverage it out throughout the entire year. I'm tracking it now. I don't know the exact same thing, but I'm tracking it now every single month just to see where I land. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. If you're saying anything, if you have any questions, just let me know. Lyra, again, there's a link in the description if you want to check it out. They're very, very, very interesting. Selling options is an incredible strategy that I think that people underutilize or just don't understand, or they're intimidated by it. And there's no need to be intimidated by it. All right, let's see. There's a learning curve though. Monotron said, CW and I have wrote some crazy copy trades. We absolutely have, man. My goodness, the beginning of it, we learned the hard way too. And it's definitely about getting more conservative, not less crazy. Be more conservative. Big Smoke, how much are you charged overnight? Okay, he already asked me that. Broke 73,000. Did we break it on this platform? Not here. Options platforms are a little bit different sometimes. Let's see about over here on the perpetuals. Not yet. Oh yeah. Holy crap. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Zoom in. Let me go into the 1 hour. I need to zoom that in somehow. How do I do that? I got the thing locked somehow. I'm not sure how to unlock it. Anyway, there's something I'm missing over here to unlock that. That's crazy. What in the world? Oh, it's not gonna cooperate with me. All right, let's come over here. Watch this not load either. It looks like we did. Looks like we hit 73 and then it bounced back hard. That's crazy. See, that's what I mean when I say trading. Like every like round number, you see it drop really hard, really fast. That's not gonna pull up here for me. Yeah, I did see my trying to scroll over the price. I did see it hit 73,000, but then it just popped back down. It did that the other day when it hit 70. It hit 70 and just went boom, dropped. It hit 71. I think it was, did the same thing. That is interesting. I mean, that tells me some huge market player is doing some sort of algorithmic trading on price action, similar to what we do to some degree, just on a much bigger scale. That's fascinating. We touched 73. See, that's what I mean. When earlier, I think it was Mtron who said, do you think the market's going to just double in the next 18 days like it did before? Well, first of all, past doesn't ever truly dictate the future. It just shows people's habits and market habits. But this time we have bigger players who are just trading price action. And that's just, we have so much money just trading price action. It's so different. They say this will be normal volatility the higher the price gets. Again, because of the ETFs, I believe, more than anything else. More than anything else. Let me see what my copy traders are doing. When I see, what's going on? What did I do? I don't even know what I did over here. Oh well, I'm not even gonna worry about it right now. I need to go look at my copy traders though to see what they did. Here we go. This finally showed up. It doesn't look like we hit 73 on the CoinMarketCap, which CoinMarketCap's a bit of an aggregator. So that just means that we didn't hit 73 everywhere. We hit it on, where were you seeing price at, Mtron? Let us know that. Where you were actually looking at price is a 7-day chart. Yeah, it doesn't look like we hit 70. 73 would be right there. And we definitely haven't hit it yet. But we could have wigged up. Yeah, ETF manipulated in a way. Of course, that's what's going to happen. I mean, it's traditional traders. These are not people who are buying for the long haul. These aren't the Michael Saylors even. I mean, think about that. Which, by the way, I just read an article that BlackRock, this told me two things. BlackRock is getting close to owning as many Bitcoin as MicroStrategy. That told me two things. First thing was this. MicroStrategy owns a hell of a lot of Bitcoin. Like, you don't ever think about how much they own. But with all these billions of dollars coming into the ETF, and they're just now catching up with where MicroStrategy is, and MicroStrategy is not even an investment fund. That's crazy to think about. But the other thing that it tells me is, okay, so the ETF it really reminds me of this. The ETF is going to be the big player. That's a little bit frustrating. Because again, now the ETFs are going to start having a lot of control over price, and the ETFs not here because they believe in the future of cryptocurrency. So that just makes for a rocky market. What do I think that means long term? Doesn't mean nothing. This is just one of the obstacles we have till we get to the top of the financial industry as decentralized private individual crypto investors. I mean, eventually crypto wins. Eventually decentralization wins. And I'll wrap up with this. Why does decentralization matter? Well, it simply matters because decentralization matters because there's no other land to discover. There's no other America to discover. You can't go start your own country. And the ability of citizens to revolt and have a revolution is almost impossible with modern weaponry that exists in the world today. So what can citizens do when the time comes? Because revolts are cyclical. That's going to happen. Decentralized cryptocurrency allows individuals to take back their own financial sovereignty. Most governments around the world exist or maintain power through the control of their currency. And like people don't understand that. They don't understand how that works, how the macroeconomics work. I mean, there's a reason China's manipulated their currency. And by the way, U.S. government doesn't ever say this. U.S. news doesn't report this. But around the world, most people know that the U.S. government has manipulated their own currency to try to maintain its power and its position when necessary, and to inflate it when it was to their advantage. That's absolutely happened. I mean, the whole inflation game that's happening now is hurting. It hurts the U.S. dollar, but it hurts countries holding the dollar far more than it hurts America, because America can always print more dollars. But if I have my central reserves, if I have $10 billion in my central bank, my $10 billion gets devalued, meaning those $10 billion don't buy what they once bought for my country. But America doesn't have to worry about it because they literally just print their own to continue to make the purchases that they need to make around the world. And that's a whole macroeconomic level that most people who are investing in this space don't understand and or care about. Let me see. Let me catch up here. I just saw online work said Lyra is copy trading or no. No, Lyra is options trading. It's options trading. We're trading options. It's totally different. Monotron said they're starting a Bitcoin city state near or in Haiti. I don't know if you've seen the news currently. Haiti just fell about 2 days ago as a country. Yeah, they don't care about price. They look at it percent movements. He's talking about traditional investors, Bitcoin ETFs. Yep, that's absolutely correct. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. If you haven't done so, smash that like button. I want to thank you all for being here. Look forward to seeing you here tomorrow morning. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully you've gotten value out of this content. Hopefully you continue to get value out of this content. I appreciate those of you that encourage me. So few people here. There was a time when I would go live and I would have 50, 40, even 90 something people on live. We'll get back there again. I'm focusing on rebuilding the channel, putting up more content, and I appreciate all of you for being here. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, decentralized cryptocurrency equals freedom. This is Crypto Wealth. I'm out.